work to do. Joining me now is the aforementioned Democratic senator from the great state of Michigan, Gary Peters, not just to talk about Michigan. Gary Peters is the chairman of the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, as well as the Senate Homeland and Government Affairs Committee. Senator Peters, good to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Well, it's great to be with you once again. Thanks for having me on.
Talk to me about how I've just laid that out with respect to Michigan. It's a complicated place, and I don't wish to sort of cast it with one brush. There are a lot of reasons why people vote in Michigan. They're not all about unionization. They're not all about Israel and Gaza. But it's a complex state, and Kamala Harris hasn't inherited it. She's got to do some work in order to win it.
Michigan is a very complicated state, and it's a classic battleground state. And as you know, the definition of a battleground state means it's going to be a very close election, and that's what we're going to have here in Michigan once again. And as you mentioned in the opening, I think it's safe to say it's almost impossible to be president of the United States now if you don't win Michigan. So all eyes are going to be on my state. It's the message I just gave to a group of volunteers that are going out canvassing, and I will say they had tremendous enthusiasm, but I also told them that basically the entire country is watching us and watching them, and it's important for us to turn out the vote.
Let's talk about the infrastructure you have in Michigan. People like you, your statewide elected people, your governor, your lieutenant governor, your secretary of state, your attorney general. They have won in trying circumstances. It's a machine. The Democratic Party in Michigan has proved to be a very effective machine. Now, some of that is that your statewide elected folks were running against some nutty people. Some of it was abortion. Tell me how this manifests in this upcoming election.
Well, certainly in the last election, you're right. We have really talented folks that are running statewide and have and won. But in the last cycle, you know, we had Prop 3, which enshrined abortion rights into the state constitution. That was the top vote getter in the last election, overwhelming, particularly with young voters. In Michigan, we had the highest number of 18 to 30-year-olds vote in the entire country, and they were coming out on that issue. And so reproductive freedom plays very big. It's a very powerful issue here in the state. There is a clear contrast between where Kamala Harris is as a champion for reproductive freedom for women versus Trump, who is responsible for the overturn of Roe v. Wade, and J.D. Vance, who's absolutely extreme on the issue with no exceptions for rape and incest, wants a national abortion ban. So that issue will continue to play, particularly in motivating young voters here in Michigan, and we have to make sure we continue to drive that issue. You know, if I talk about J.D. Vance, for example, you know, he was asked about his support for no exceptions, including if a woman is raped, and when asked why that was his position, he said, well, you know, rape is inconvenient. Well, I've got a message for J.D. Vance. Wow. Rape is not inconvenient. It is absolutely catastrophic to women. Yeah. To me, that is disqualifying for J.D. Vance. And we talked to Michigan voters about the vice president who thinks that. We're going to show up in big numbers and vote against him and Trump.
One of the things I mentioned in the introduction is that Joe Biden had lost some ground in Michigan, partly due to his stance on the war between Israel and Gaza. Kamala Harris took that issue on directly during this first week of her campaign. She met with the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. This is what she said immediately afterward.
What has happened in Gaza over the past 9 months is devastating. The images of dead children and desperate, hungry people fleeing for safety, sometimes displaced for the second, third, or fourth time. We cannot look away in the face of these tragedies. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering, and I will not be silent. So to everyone who has been calling for a ceasefire, and to everyone who yearns for peace, I see you and I hear you. Let's get the deal done so we can get a ceasefire to end the war.
That's one of the most direct criticisms of Israel's war in Gaza from one of the highest officials in American politics. You remember there were many months where if people said something about a ceasefire, you were accused of all sorts of horrible things. How do you think this message is going to be received by those Michiganders who are very concerned about this war?
Well, there's no question we have a large and vibrant Arab American, Muslim American community here in Michigan. It's to me, it's an absolutely vital part of our very vibrant and diverse state that we have. And her words about making sure that she understands what is going on to innocent civilians that are being caught in the crossfire is very important. For her to continue to speak in those terms is going to make a difference in that community. But ultimately, we've got to bring peace. We've got to stop the fighting. We've got to understand that Hamas is a horrible terrorist organization. But we also have to understand that there are innocent people that are caught in that crossfire that we care about. And I think Kamala Harris will be able to strike that balance and has certainly talked about doing that, and I believe that she can.